Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome back to another episode of UNC Hoops Talk. I'm your host, Dan DeWitt. We're in the thick of our non-conference. It's going to get brutal here for the Tar Heels, and they need to come to play every game now. But also exciting time because we get to see those high-level games. We get to see our Tar Heels against some of the top competition in the country. And so that's exciting. Win or lose this time of year, we want to see good games, and we want to get better, and that's what Roy Williams is going to help them do. Before we jump into looking back at Las Vegas trip for the Tar Heels, looking ahead to Michigan and the ACC Big Ten matchup there, I just want to thank you guys for listening, for watching. However, if you are watching, now you know why I always wear a hat. I just thank you guys for watching, listening. Hope you had a very happy Thanksgiving. Hope you got to share the podcast with one other Tar Heel from your friends or your family. And to spread the word and to unite Tar Heel Nation a little bit. But we are going to jump in here. We're going to take a look at the Tar Heels. I don't know if I want to call it successful trip. I don't want to necessarily call it a bad trip, but it was the trip to Las Vegas for the Las Vegas Invitational, I believe was the name of the little tournament there. As we talked about on the last podcast, we played Texas on Thursday on Thanksgiving Day. It was a 7:30 p.m. Eastern tip. This definitely was not a good game for the Tar Heels. 89-92 loss, but really we made a run at the end, or Coby White made a run, maybe is even a better way to say it, at the end to get it that close. And it was a valiant effort. Obviously, it was good to see them not give up, especially as poorly as we were playing. But really, Coby White was the one bright spot out of this game. He went off for 33 points. And yeah, he exploded. 7 for 10 from 3 for Coby, 10 for 17. So it wasn't even like he was shooting bad. He just kept shooting for whatever reason. I don't think Roy would let anybody do that on our team. But I mean, he was 7 for 10 from 3. Like, that's, incredible. But yeah, 33 points. Only one really, scoring. We had 3 other guys in double figures. Almost 4, I guess. But it was offensive and defense. Defense, we were just absolutely horrendous on this game. I mean, we let them drive middle at will. They got into the lane, got to the hoop whenever they wanted to. They were pretty much doing whatever they wanted to. And our defense, pick and roll defense was really bad. Help defense was bad. Transition defense was bad. Really all of it. And then, our offense just wasn't there either to even, subsidize that. Like I said, we made a good run at the end there to get it close. But really, until the end, it wasn't even this close of a ball game, a 3-point ball game. So it's kind of sad there. As far as team stats goes, like I said, we had 89 points to their 92. We did out-rebound them, 41-32. Offensive rebounds, we had 15 to their 9. So those are all good signs. We had only 13 assists to their 15 assists. We did have 17 turnovers to just their 14, and 14 of our turnovers were in the first half where we dug our hole. So that was not good. Guess on the bright spot there, Sterling Manley had 4. Nobody else had more than 2 turnovers. Like even Coby White, just 2 turnovers. And remember, this is the first game we were missing Seventh Woods. He missed both these games because of a concussion he got in practice. And he'll be looked at here, I'm guessing tomorrow. I'm recording this Monday. I'm guessing they'll look at him Tuesday before the Michigan game. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it'll be Monday. Maybe it's today that they check on him because I don't know when they leave to go to Michigan for that game. So, but they'll check on him this week here before Michigan. We won't know, until probably tomorrow or even Wednesday if he will play against Michigan, which we need him to. Leaky, as much as we were praising him before, didn't really look that impressive in these games with the extended. Actually, it wasn't even that much extended minutes. He played 14 minutes here against Texas, but didn't have kind of the same successes he's been having. And like we said in the last podcast, this is kind of our first step up in the quality of competition. Wofford was a good team, played at their place, but just not the same level as a Power 5. And really Texas has a lot of talent. We'll see, again, I said it on the last podcast, we'll see how that contribute or exchanges into wins and losses in the Big 12. And, if they can compete with Tech or with Kansas, with Kansas State, Oklahoma, a lot of those teams in the Big 12. There's going to be a lot of good teams in the Big 12, so we'll see kind of where it translates there. But they looked then their talent played to what it looked like in this game. Roach went off for a career day. Of course, we always have somebody do that. He was 12 for 15 shooting, 3 for 3 from the 3-point line, explosive dunks. Again, got into the lane and drove past our guys kind of at will, and that's everybody: Kenny, Coby, Cam, Leaky, B-Rob, Nasir. It was a team effort in letting them score as many points as we did. And yeah, so that kind of stunk. But 14 of our 17 turnovers in the first half there. But again, bright spot is nobody had more than 2 except for Sterling Manley. Individuals, well, and I guess shooting wise for us, we shot 47% in the first half, 46% from 3 in the first half. Dropped off in the second half. We shot 42% from the field, or from 2. No, I guess that's the field overall, and 31% from 3 in the second half. Free throws, we shot pretty good, 76% overall for the game, but not as many as them. They shot 29 to our 21, which usually translates into fouls and foul trouble. We had Garrison Brooks foul out. Coby had 4. He did have a little bit of foul trouble coming out, and yeah, obviously that hurt us because he was the only person scoring for us. But again, that's where that depth of Seventh Woods coming in and being so steady behind him has been so important. Hasn't really shown up till now, but we definitely noticed it in this game and even the UCLA game. When Coby was getting into foul trouble, you could tell a difference when he went out. So that's something to watch, especially again against Michigan, who's had a top-ranked defense so far this year. If Seventh can't go, that's a big blow for us. But obviously we'll get into that. But individual stats, like I said, Coby went off 33 points, 7 for 10 from the 3-point line, 10 for 17 overall. After that, Cam had 16, but he shot 6 for 14 to get there, 1 for 6 from the 3-point line. And then we had Luke May had 11 on 5 for 15 shooting, 1 for 5 from 3, 9 rebounds as well. And then the only other person in double figures was Nasir Little with 11. And he was 3 for 9, 1 for 5 from the 3-point line as well to get there with his 6 rebounds. And then we had Garrison Brooks had 9 with 8 rebounds. But like I said, he fouled out just 21 minutes. And then after that, it's, a 3 from Brandon Robinson, 2 from Playtech, 2 from Kenny, 2 from Leaky. And that was our scoring. The other, factor in here was not as many people playing double figures. Obviously, Seventh being out kind of takes away one double figure guy. But we had our 5 starters, and then Leaky had 14. Nasir had 21. And then Sterling Manley had 8. B-Rob had 7. And then Playtech had 4. So definitely a shortened bench. Again, the step up in competition. Obviously, the competitive of Roy wanting to win that. But just not a good showing here from the Tar Heels in their first kind of challenge. Obviously, we've played Stanford, who is a Power 5 team, but not the talent that Texas has this year. And they took it to us, and the guys said it, and hopefully we're challenged. But Texas came out and kind of punched us in the mouth, and we never really responded. We made a run late in the game, so that's a positive, but we just never got our defense really how it should be. And again, you give a team confidence, and they're rolling and doing what they want to do. And it wasn't pretty to watch. And you'd hope they'd come back the next day and be fired up and really take it to UCLA, since we couldn't play Michigan State. Michigan State kind of blew out UCLA. And so we got matched up with UCLA. And just a kind of quick look around college basketball, Texas was up. They were up, I think, 20 plus on Kansas the next day, but couldn't convert that into a win. They let Kansas come back and take the lead and they eventually win. I don't remember what they won by 6 or something, maybe double figures. I don't remember. But good showing from Texas overall. UCLA kind of a bad one because they got blown out there, and then we blew them out 94-78. But first half of this game, we came out and it was kind of the same thing. Our defense looked horrible. Coby was the only person doing anything offensively, and it looked like the same thing. And I actually stopped watching this at halftime. This was on Friday, the Black Friday, I guess. And my kids have been bugging us to get the tree up and get our outside lights up and stuff. And the first half was so bad, it's like, all right, guys, let's go outside and put stuff up. So I didn't watch the second half, or at least the first part of the second half. When I came back in, we had established a lead. And I didn't really watch because I wanted to see how we got the lead. But I did have it kind of on, and I saw obviously that we won and stuff like that. But again, first half defensively, they were doing what they wanted to do. We let them shoot 52% overall from the field in the first half, 41% from three. And we cut that back in the second half to 38%. They did shoot better from three, 50%, but a lot less, or I guess a couple less of them. So yeah, we definitely cut that, from 52% overall to 38% shooting for them. Us, we shot 44% and 50% from field goal and 3-point respectively, and we jumped that up to 53% in the second half overall. Shot a little bit worse from we made one less three really in the second half, but percentage-wise looks worse. But team stats, we out-rebound. Actually, we didn't out-rebound them. I thought we had, but both had 37. They actually had more offensive rebounds than us, 12-9. But assists were much better for us, 21 to their 15. And then the big difference here, turnovers, we had 6 in this game. Remember, we had 17 against Texas, 14 in the first half alone. We cut it down to 6 in this game. So, yeah, big improvement there. 13 assists for them isn't, big deal, isn't a crazy thing there. But we did also have 6 steals in this as a team. But, yeah, we went from trailing 46-41 at half to outscoring them 53-32 in the second half to win our 94-78 margin of victory. And I will kind of plug on Twitter and Instagram for that matter, but I've kind of tweeted out, what's your score prediction? And we actually had somebody was 1 point off. I think they guessed maybe 2. It was 1 bucket off or something like that. I think they maybe had 94-76 or something like that. Pretty crazy close. So definitely get into the fun there before every game. I usually try to do it in the morning, so you have all day to kind of leave your score. But send your score predictions in, and whoever gets the closest obviously gets a little shout out after the game. So that's been a lot of fun to do. As far as individual stats against UCLA, Coby led us again, 19 points. He was 6 for 11 shooting, 4 for 7 from 3. But a lot more guys kind of followed after. Most of this again in the second half, but Kenny Williams, 15 points, 5 for 8 shooting, 2 for 4 from 3. Let's see. Luke had 16, 4 for 10 shooting, so still not great there. 2 for 5 from 3. Cam, 14, 6 for 13, 2 for 4. But again, a lot more spread out there. We had 19, 16, 15, 14. And then off the bench, Nasir Little, 14 points on 5 of 12 shooting. Garrison Brooks struggled, didn't make a shot, but made a couple free throws for his 2 points. Leaky Black did make a 3 and then one other bucket for his 5 points. B-Rob had 1 bucket for 2 points, and then Sterling Manley had 2 points. And then in garbage minutes when it was already decided, KJ Smith had 5 points. Actually 3 free throws in a bucket. So again, not as many guys in double-figure minutes as well. Obviously, our 5 starters, and then Leaky with 18, backing up Coby, and Coby being in foul trouble as well. And then Brandon Robinson did get in double figures this game with 14 minutes, and then Nasir with 20 minutes. And then other than that, really, Sterling Manley had 7. That's it. Playtech only 1, and then obviously our other guys cleaning up the end of the game with 1 minute. Leading rebounders, Garrison Brooks, again, really struggled. 1 rebound in this game. Did end up with 4 fouls. Luke May actually fouled out of this game. He led us with 8 rebounds. Like I said, Coby White had his 4 fouls, but he did have, again, 8 assists to just 2 turnovers, so 4-to-1 ratio. So that's really good. And then Cam Johnson, 7 rebounds to come in right behind Luke there in the rebounding stat. Let's see here. Out of other noticeable things, I don't know. Again, I didn't watch this second half live. I didn't go back and watch it. It's not quite the same, but our offense clicked that much better. Defense, I mean, that's definitely what we have to work on. We got to shore up our defense from the Texas and first half of this UCLA game, going against a Beeline coach team in Michigan, and as good as their defense has been, their offense has kind of always been their staple, and we're going to have to shore that up if we want to play against, obviously we got Gonzaga coming up. Kentucky hasn't scored the ball well, but we don't want to give them that confidence to get them rolling either. It's our defense is going to be key here, and I don't think it's ever been as evident. This game, obviously, we spread the scoring out a little bit better, but it's going to be defense. This team is going to go as far as the defense is going to take them. If they can, again, ball screens, not letting guys just drive past us and get into the middle of the lane to either dump it off, kick it out for a three, or just finish it themselves. It's what's going to be the most important thing going forward for this team is how they figure out their defense, and really it's working together. And somebody said, and I totally agreed and tweeted out as well, but these guys, we need, our senior leaders. It's not Luke May, it's not Kenny May Williams, it's not Cameron Johnson's kind of personality, but someone's got to get up in these guys and challenge them. Our seniors got to get up and challenge these guys. It obviously Nasir probably has more of that. And even Coby, kind of that bulldog, kind of like Joel Berry had last year. The competitive, just kind of bulldog, like getting guys' face. But again, those guys are freshmen. They're probably not going to do that. So we need Luke or Kenny or Cam, someone just kind of go off on guys, but hasn't been their personality. Obviously, we saw Coach Williams, and we know how he can get into guys, but it's different when it comes from a player and kind of that senior player as well. So we need somebody to step up like that. And again, defense is going to be huge going forward for this team. And we'll see. Obviously, we know what's coming ahead. We're going to take a little look here. And before I even move on from that UCLA game, there was a monster dunk from Nasir Little, driving down the middle of the lane, just dunking on a guy. Absolutely crazy dunk. But there's been more and more talk nationally, I think, is where I've heard it. Obviously, amongst North Carolina guys, it's been discussed, but I feel like more national guys are kind of catching on to this, and that's the minutes that Nasir have been playing, or maybe lack of minutes. Everybody's been saying he's got to start. Roy Williams is killing himself on the recruiting trail. 5-star guys aren't going to go there after seeing this. Why is it, even if he's not starting, why isn't he getting more minutes? But he's getting the minutes. He's getting 20+ minutes every game. And I think that will go up as we get into these bigger games, as we need that athleticism even to match up with guys. But I don't know if it's defensively. Offensively, I do see Nasir forcing it a little bit. He's, making sure he gets some shots off, and sometimes they're not the best shots. And so I don't know if that's what it is, or if defensively he's not quite where Roy wants him. There's something there that Roy's kind of holding back a little bit. Instead of him getting 27, 28 minutes, he's getting 20, 21 minutes. So it'll be interesting as we go forward there. Again, as we have to match up with Michigan, Gonzaga, Kentucky, obviously Duke when we get into conference play. He's kind of perfect body and athleticism and stuff to match up with those Duke guys. So we're going to need him in there. We'll see what happens there, what Roy does. But I just feel like there's more national guys, Doug Gottlieb and I don't know who else I've seen talking about it. I know Gary Parrish and Matt Norlander on their podcast, the CBS college basketball podcast, have talked about it a little bit. And Sam Vicini he used to be on the CBS podcast, but now I don't know what he's doing now. But I know he's been blurting it out there quite a bit too. But he needs to be getting more minutes, and Roy needs to be playing him more. But obviously, we'll leave that up to Roy. And Roy has said in post-game pressers that he's not worried about what social media people are saying or anybody else really is saying. He just cares what Nasir is saying and what he's doing and thinking, and then obviously what's best for the team. So something to kind of keep an eye out. But like I said, we got to move on now here. So today is Monday as we record this. On Wednesday, November 28th, we go to Michigan, to Ann Arbor. It's the primetime game for the ACC Big Ten Challenge on Wednesday night. It's the 9:30 p.m. Eastern tip. It'll be on ESPN. Duke, Indiana is the prime game Tuesday night for the ACC Big Ten Challenge. And we got the Wednesday night one, kind of to finish off. We'll see. Not that anybody really keeps track of who wins the ACC Big Ten Challenge anymore, but we'll get the last crack at that if it hasn't been decided. And this is a tough game. Like I said, I would almost pick. I know we can beat Michigan, but right now I think this is probably a game we drop. And I don't know that I've predicted one yet this year on the podcast. Obviously, I didn't pick us to win all the games in my preseason predictions, but I think this is one we probably drop. We're at Michigan. They're rolling a lot more than us at this point, offensively and defensively. Their defense, I think, has been ranked the top defense in the country so far this year. They like to shoot threes. We know that's not something that we guard well. Their big guys are efficient. We haven't necessarily guarded that well. They got senior and veteran guards. Know what Beeline wants, and yeah. So I kind of pick us that we're probably going to drop this game, as tough as that is to admit and say here on the podcast. I think we probably drop against Michigan, which means we're dropping 2 out of 3 here in this stretch. But yeah, we'll obviously watch that, and we'll try to take down the Wolverines on ESPN on Wednesday night. I'll be tuned in, and hey, call me out if we win. I'm definitely okay with that. I'll be cheering for that as well. But then from there we go. We get a whole week off. The following Wednesday, December 5th, we play UNC Wilmington. Obviously, the coach there, having come in from North Carolina, from Roy's staff, McGrath, and let's see, he was there last year. Did we play them last year? I know we did kind of the charity thing last year in the preseason. I don't think we played them, so it's kind of the first time we'll see them. That'll be on ESPN2, and that's a 9 p.m. Eastern tip back home in Chapel Hill on December 5th. So again, a whole week off there. And I said this in the last podcast, but December we only have 4 games, so pretty much once a week. But we go Wednesday here, and we get that following weekend off and go all the way to the following Wednesday or Saturday. To Gonzaga. So obviously we'll podcast. I'm going to probably podcast that next Thursday after UNCW game is my plan right now anyway, December 6th to podcast. And so we'll go, obviously then preview the Gonzaga game. So I'll get a whole week off there from podcasting anyway. But yeah, we get a week and a half between UNCW game and the Gonzaga game. Which was going to be a huge matchup in Chapel Hill. And then we get another week off before we play Kentucky in the CBS Sports Classic up in Chicago. And then another week off before we play Davidson on the 29th of December. And then we have 1 game Harvard in January before we start the ACC play. But as far as podcast scheduling goes, like I said, next Thursday after the UNCW game, we'll recap Michigan and UNCW, preview Gonzaga. The following week after Gonzaga, preview Kentucky, and then try to, I guess after the Kentucky game, try to quickly get one in before Christmas, previewing the last 2 games of the non-conference before we get into ACC play. So it's crazy. It's coming fast. I've said this about every podcast since the season started, but it's part of playing at North Carolina. You get these big-time games, and you got to get ready for them. We'll see how ready the Tar Heels are. Obviously the big question again for us is going to be our defense, but also for the Michigan game, if Seventh Woods is back to kind of shore up that backup point guard position there, or if Leakey can step up a little bit more than what he did in Vegas. But yeah, it wasn't really a great showing for us. We did recover a little bit in the second half of UCLA to at least it wasn't a disaster. But yeah, our Tar Heels need us more than ever. We need to unite Tar Heel Nation. So that's, again, why I would say make sure you're spreading the word here. Make sure you're subscribed wherever you listen, and tell a friend, tell a family member about the podcast, and send in your feedback, all that stuff, just to make sure we're united. If you're not connected with me on social media, make sure you're doing that. But before we go, we still got quite a bit here before we go, but moving on then to our kind of look around college basketball segment, big games that have happened. Gonzaga taking down Duke. So I guess that could also be part of our Duke Sucks segment. It's not what I have, but Duke going from supposedly being undefeated or going the whole season undefeated. Jay Williams even saying they could beat the Cleveland Cavaliers, all that, joke of a stuff, to losing to Gonzaga. It was tight. Gonzaga almost kind of blew it, but they were blowing out. They were double figures for a lot of the game before they kind of were letting it slip away late, and then they did hold on for the victory. But that was a great game. Again, it's part of what we'll see here with Gonzaga coming to Chapel Hill in a couple of weeks. But we had that game. There was other Tennessee and Kansas game. Tennessee kind of let that one slip away. They had the lead as well before losing in overtime to Kansas. We saw how good Texas looked. Michigan State's still climbing up there. Gonzaga, obviously the top there. Nevada has been blowing people out by 20-plus points. A lot of good teams this year. And again, it's we'll see how we react with our defense. But as far as coming up, I don't know what big games are coming up in college basketball. Obviously, we have the whole ACC Big Ten Challenge this week, starting tonight, Monday night, as I record this, and obviously the big game with, of course, Duke's at home, so they should beat Indiana tomorrow night. Clemson, Nebraska will be an interesting one. I think that might be tonight, Monday night. Clemson and Nebraska might be the big one there, and obviously our game. And not that anybody cares who wins the ACC Big Ten Challenge, but watching that and yeah, that's kind of our quick look around college basketball. As far as the Duke Sucks segment, brought to you by the Duke Sucks book, written by Andy Bagley. I think it was Blagley and Reed. I don't remember his last name, but yeah, they used to podcast, and yeah, so we're sponsored. Look it up. Look on Amazon or any bookstore, Duke Sucks book. But they bring us the Duke Sucks segment, as they're the ones that started it, and I'm trying to continue it. And I need you guys to keep sending stuff in every week so we can keep doing this segment. This week, it was kind of the shot distribution of Duke and maybe the lack thereof. So far this season, R.J. Barrett has missed, not attempted, he has missed 75 shots. I don't remember what his percentage is off the top of my head, but not necessarily great. R.J. Barrett has missed 75 shots. Zion Williamson, I believe, is probably the second leading scorer for Duke, has attempted 74 shots. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe he's attempted 75. R.J. Barrett's missed 74. I think that's the way it is. But he's almost missed as many as Zion has taken. And Zion's been efficient. He's shot the ball well from three. He did miss a couple of dunks in Maui, one of them kind of point blank, but he has attempted one more shot than R.J. Barrett has missed, and that's the leading scorer to the second leading scorer. So that is, I mean, it is just crazy. And it was R.J. Barrett at the end of the Gonzaga game that kept going one-on-one against Rui Hachimura, and he shut him down. They blocked a couple of shots there and got some stops on R.J. Barrett, and preserved that win for Gonzaga. But I just thought that was incredible, and like I can't even imagine that happening. Tyler Hansbrough may be the one person that comes to mind, but I still don't think he's any close to that, where he misses as many shots as the next person attempts, and not even just like, it's not like Zion is like the fifth starter and just doesn't get many shots, or he's a guy off the bench that doesn't get many shots. He's probably their second leading scorer. I haven't looked it up, but I'm guessing he's their second leading scorer, and he is made or attempted one more shot than R.J. Barrett has even missed. So just incredible. Roy would never do that, have it spread around. But so that is our Duke Sucks segment there. Thank you, R.J. Barrett and Zion Williamson. But yeah, real quick before we do get off, I always, if you guys have been listening, know that I ask on Twitter for any questions or comments and stuff. So Zol Sudani, hopefully I said that right there. Thanks for the question there. But he says, what do you think about Coach Williams' lineup? Kind of hit on this already. The only question is when or how Nasir is going to keep getting more and more minutes. I don't know. I don't mind him starting two bigs. I do think our best lineup is probably small, but we also haven't necessarily rebounded well with the small lineup in there, and so Roy isn't going to stick to that if that's the way it's going to be. So I don't expect a lot to change there, and so yeah, there's not a whole lot of reason to talk about it. He's going to have to get minutes from Kenny and KM, and then play a little bit of the four. But Nasir has played a little four now, and he's looked good doing it. So maybe we squeeze him a little bit more minutes out of it. I don't know if we can say it's our closing lineup because of the way they rebound out of it. But again, something to keep our eye on. Thank you, Zol, for that question. That's the only one we got here this week. So again, I appreciate you guys watching and listening, sharing the podcast. Make sure you're subscribed, all that good stuff. And we'll keep them coming every week. We're going to be recapping games, looking at the stats, we'll keep an eye on that defense, obviously, how well, and watch now against Michigan, how much can they drive into our lane, drive and kick. They like to shoot threes. We know we don't guard the three that well. Pick and roll defense, how well we do, and that's going to be key to our season. So we'll keep an eye on that, of course, and we'll keep looking ahead and previewing the next week's games here. But appreciate you guys being here with me. That's all I got for you this week. Signing off, I am your host, Dan DeWitt. I will see you guys again next week. But until then, go Heels.